Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Your brothers of Great Millstone Charlotte come up with another live lesson to the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. We want to start by giving our praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Hakadosh. Double honors.
Double honor to those apostles of Great Millstone that told us the truth. Okay.
I was like, I cut out.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, that's a lot. But peace and blessings to you, hopefully, brothers and sisters out there. Continue pushing this word in peace and truth and sincerity. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
So, we're going into a lesson in response to the Elder Menat Zakba, the syncretism, Hebrew Israelites in church with fringes. Because like the title we put, right, there's no new thing under the sun. This has always been an issue that Israel has had. This is always a thing that they've found themselves doing, is trying to intermingle, these worldly doctrines with their true belief system, man. So we can open with that.
This is Ecclesiastes, Quahalath, chapter 1 and verse 9. It says, the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun.
Right. So what we're seeing right now is just what has already happened in the past, man. The same Israelites who knew that there were Israelites and continued in the Greekish fashions, in the Roman fashions, and these Babylonian customs, going back to the Canaanite customs, as we'll read in this biblical commentary, right? All these things have had those same spirits come back and follow in those same footsteps, man. So now we see Jake with the fringes in church. We see Jake trying to intermingle, rap music and these worldly philosophies and cares of this life right into the doctrine, man. So we understand that that's always been a thing that's taken place.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
another thing too, like Esau, Esau capitalized on that too. So a lot of times he'll set up different groups, because he understands that his kingdom is going down. So it's like his last hoorah, so to speak, to get Jake, try to lure Jake back in, but that's not going to be the case, because, the Lord is essentially having things transition, which when you go into the word for trans, it means a change,
That's right. Now, this is the definition for the word syncretism. It reads, the reconciliation or fusion of differing systems of belief, as in philosophy or religion, especially when success is partial or the result is heterogeneous. So the point being, right, people are attempting to fuse, being an Israelite, right, understanding your heritage with the customs of this world, man, right, with Christianity, with the Nation of Islam, as we've seen with Nate, right, in his escapades, right, with the street culture, so-called black culture. All these things they're trying to fuse, with this doctrine. Why? Because they don't have that breath, man. Because they're still searching for something, to fulfill them, man. And it's either that or they're looking for that bag, right? They're looking to have some type of monetary gain, and these men, we know that they've been compromised as far as that's concerned, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna read this real quick here now. This is out of the Bridgeway Biblical Commentary for the Book of Judges, and it reads here, the religion of the Canaanites. Now, Jake, the religion of the Canaanites can be likened unto Christianity or these other philosophies that Jake has found themselves, chasing after. Now it says here, Canaanite gods were known as Balaam, and the goddess as Ashtaroth and Asturim. It says these were gods of nature and fertility, who, among other things, were believed to have power to increase agricultural productivity. Since Israel knew Yahweh as the creator of nature, the people easily fell to the temptation to combine Canaanite ideas with their own, so worship Yahweh as another Baal, right? So, Jake, who knows that they're Israelites, try to combine that understanding with this Christian dogma, man, because now they think that they have some type of higher understanding, and they can praise the Lord, right, and liken him unto these other deities, right? Now it says, Salah. It says the word Baal was a common Hebrew word that meant master, husband, or owner. And since the Israelites knew Yahweh as their master, husband, and owner, they further linked the Canaanite Baals to him. So this is them linking that syncretism, going back to that word. Jake trying to combine, being an Israelite with the other religions, the other philosophies of this world, man.
Precept.
Okay.
This is Yahweh Joshua chapter 24. Chapter 24 and verse 14. It says, "Now therefore fear the Lord." And I'm starting verse 13. This is Joshua 24 and 14. It says, "Now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord." It says, "And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom ye will serve, whether the powers which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." So Jake has a very impressionable type of spirit. That's why Jake got to be led. Now going back to verse 14, it says, "And serve him in sincerity and in truth." So serve the Lord with the wholeness of your heart, your mind. All right, and also serve him in truth. The Lord has given us what you would call customs. We got customs and manners. So you can't, take one thing and then try to include it, into the truth. We got a manual right here, which when you go into manual, it goes into how you work and essentially how you operate in a particular type of facet or business, which this is the Father's business. So if this is the Father's business, we have to operate in that particular fashion in which He said to maneuver.
That's right. Grab Isaiah 34 and 16.
This is
Go.
This is Yashaya, Isaiah chapter 34, and we'll get verse 16, and it says, "Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them."
Right. So nothing compares to this truth, man. Right? You can't mix and intermingle this with anything and expect anything good to come out of it, because this is all. That means you're adulterating, what was already perfect, man.
I got another one. This is Mashaliah, Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 29. It says, "Who hath woe? Who hath sorrow? Who hath contentions? Who hath babbling? Who hath wounds without cause? Who hath redness of eyes? They that tarry long at the wine, they that go to seek mixed wine." So essentially those that's, mixing and mingling and stuff like that, not ultimately seeking the truth for the scriptures say, Ezekiel the 3rd chapter, from verse 1 on down to verse 3. Essentially says eat the whole roll. It don't say take parts of this and then put this, because essentially it puts people in a place where it's like they confused. They don't know what's going on. They're not truly founded in that rock. The Lord says things in the scriptures for a specific reason. It's just Jake is super hard headed. Jake has those itching ears. They want to hear those smooth things, those deceitful things.
Right. Because like you see on the thumbnail, right? Jake got the fringes on. You got Jake over there in the dashiki. It's just confusion, man. Right. Everything you see, Jake, they understand they're Israelites, but they separate themselves, right, from the responsibility of being an Israelite. And that starts with, getting out of these churches, getting away, from these false doctrines, man. Right. But Jake has habitually, connected themselves to and wish to combine these various things together. Right. Now, going back, this is the commentary for Judges. It says, "The places where the Canaanites like to carry out their Baal rituals were the sacred hilltop sites known as the high places," right? So you can liken that to these churches, right? To these mosques, all these places where Jake goes to worship, you know? It says, "Among the features of these high places were the sacred wooden stone pillars known as Asherim." It says, jumping to the point, "From the beginning, Israelites had worshipped Yahweh at various places in the hills. And again, the people readily fell into the temptation to take over the high places of Baal and used them in their worship of Yahweh. All this was in spite of the Most High's command that the high places of Baal were to be destroyed. So Jake, being disobedient, refused to destroy the places of worship for the heathen, and instead took it upon themselves to make those places so-called places of worship, for Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. And what do we see happening? Jake, that know that they're Israelites, continuing to go into these church houses, man. Right? Jake got the fringes on, still calling on white man Jesus, man. So this is what we're seeing, that syncretism, right, where they're trying to combine these things, right, with some ultimate goal of betterment. Because I wanted to go back to that definition. It says, let me look this word up. So it says here, for syncretism in the Free Dictionary, the reconciliation or fusion, right, because they're trying to fuse these things together, of differing systems of belief, right? We don't believe the same thing these Christians believe, man, or these anti-Hamashiachs, right? As the elder in Coin, right? These antichrists. It says, as in philosophy or religion, especially when success is partial or the result is heterogeneous, which means separating, man, right? Because the truth can't be mixed with these things. It's always going to find itself, separating out. It's like oil and water, right? Because truth can't be in the midst of lies, because it will make they're not the same. They're not on the same level. The lies will always be exposed, So Jake is in a what's the word? It's pretty much they're in the pursuit of failure, right? In trying to mix these things together.
I got a couple.
Yeah.
It's like when you go into the Hebrew alphabet, you got the letter Ba. All right, and the Ba, you got a double, and you also got division. Those that's in that worldly spirit, they essentially will go into a divided type of mindset, whereas the Lord is essentially gathering us together, because when two become one, as strength. But I'm going to get this. This is Amos chapter 3, and we'll get verse 3. It says, can two walk together except they be agreed, which you pretty much mentioned. Two can't walk together unless they be agreed. What it really goes into is that Jake is still in that worldly spirit. So I'm gonna grab this real fast. This is second Makwabaya Maccabees chapter 4, and we'll get verse 12. It says, verse 11, verse 10. It says, this is a second Maccabees 4 and 10. It says, which when the king had granted, and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion, and the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid. He took away, and putting down the governments which were according to the law, he brought up new customs against the law. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat. Now such was the height of Greek fashions, and an increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch and no high priest, that the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise after the game of discus called them forth. Jay was pretty much what they call it, like shot put and discus. It says, not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. And that's one example of why you shouldn't be, mixing, because like Jake, that worldly, that's gonna pull on Jake's spirit, pull Jake right back into the world,
Yep, exactly. Right. You don't have to be a Hebrew Israelite, artist, or a Hebrew Israelite rapper, or Hebrew Israelite. You don't have to intermingle all these things of the world with the ministry, man. Or even going to with Sakari, right, where they try to put on this thug gangster persona, or IUIC, where they're intermingling both with Christians and the Nation of Islam, right? All these things are causing confusion, man, right? Because mixing all these doctrines together, right, which is ultimately going to lead to nothing, man, but destruction and confusion and misled sheep, man. Could you grab Judges 2:16. We'll read
Okay.
16, 17.
This is Judges Shawapatyan, chapter 2. This is Judges chapter 2. And you said verse 16?
Okay.
Verse 16, it says, Nevertheless, the Lord raised up judges, which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them.
Right.
And yet,
Those judges, starting with our elders and apostles and, and their elders and the men on down, right? They were raised up, to deliver us out of the hands of them that spoiled us through this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. Right? To give us this understanding so that, we can both become teachers and ultimately, receive that salvation, man. So those judges were set up, and Jake is seeing those judges. They're seeing those representations go out in the world, and that's why you see Jake with the fringes on. That's why you see Jake with the Zeetses, right? That's why you see Jake, embracing their Israelite heritage, but they're being misguided. So just like Jake, saw the judges back then in the book of Judges during the time of Joshua and on, right? We're seeing that same thing take place, man.
verse 17, and yet they would not hearken unto their judges, but they went a whoring after other gods, and bowed themselves unto them. They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in, obeying the commandments of the Lord, but they did not so.
Right. So just like Jake, right, turned away from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua back then, knowing you're an Israelite is just the beginning. You know that you're an Israelite. Now you separate yourself from the cares of this world, man. You separate yourself from the customs, of this place. But we see Israelites trying to bring that into every facet of their life, which is unwise and ultimately, not profitable, because we were made to be separate, from the ways of this world, man.
Yeah, continue on.
Oh no, that was it on that.
I got a scripture real fast if I can. This is Yaramyah, Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 14. It says, Is Yasha'Allah a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Jake is spoiled in this deplorable condition, essentially because we went off, you see, and then also you got Jake, they subscribe to that captivity type of mindset. That's all Jake know. You tell Jake, hey, you got the kingdom to look forward to. Jake just want to look to, getting him a house, getting him a car, getting a decent paying job. Jake thinks small. Jake loves to, again, hold on to that the lifestyle that Esau Edom has given him.
That's right. That's right. Grab Jeremiah 14 and start in verse 10.
This is Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 10. It says, Thus saith the Lord unto this people, thus have they loved to wander, they have not refrained their feet, therefore the Lord doeth not accept them. He will now remember their iniquity and visit their sins.
Right. So Jake thinks, just because you put the fringes on and now you're going to the church, right? You're singing in the choir, that they're gonna be in the good favor of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. When it's quite the contrary, man. Right? Jake loved to wander, right? You're an Israelite, and now you're trying to mix that into every philosophy, every way of life, right? Every thinking, and now they haven't refrained their feet, right? They haven't stopped. They haven't thought to themselves, hey, maybe I should, take a step back and forego, right, these other things so that I can forward myself in the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Instead, Jake wants to continue in, right, the same way they were moving, just in a t-shirt with fringes on now, man.
Because what it really go back to is, like, if it's in the facet of Jake, just seeing what he knew from the world, they don't got to take accountability, but, this truth requires us to take accountability and to change. Because in order to, the scriptures say to essentially, we got to become a new person, so in order to become a new person, one will have to take accountability. If you can't take accountability, you can't grow, so Jake really, doesn't want to take accountability,
That's it.
Continue on in that.
Yeah, read verse 11.
This is Jeremiah chapter 14 and verse 11. It says, Then said the Lord unto me, Pray not for this people for their good.
Right, right. So these are the same people that we're gonna start to see, you know, lose it, man. Right, like the scriptures say, the judgment is gonna start in the house of Israel first, man. Right, it's gonna start with those people who know that they're Israelites. It's gonna start with Jake, who walks around here, boasting and bragging about being an Israelite, but hasn't made the requisite changes. Right, hasn't separated themselves from the cares of this life. Because they ultimately don't believe, and they don't understand what they're involving themselves in, man. Because it's not, Jake treats this as like it's just a light, little lifestyle fad, right? Instead of it being right an actual change of the person, man. Um, let's grab First Corinthians 11, and we'll start in 17.
Con. It's First Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 17, and it says, "Now in this that I declare unto you, I praise you not, that ye come together not for the better, but for the worse."
Right. So Apostle Paul is talking to these people, right? And we can liken this unto what's happening today, both with these other camps, right, that are joining together with camps who are joining with other groups, and with Jake, who is trying to bring the truth or attach the truth unto these other philosophies as well, man. You know,
Keep going.
Can read down to we can read down to 19.
Con. 1 Corinthians 11 and 18, it says, "For first of all, when ye come together in the church, I hear that there be divisions among you, and I partly believe it."
Right. So, just imagine that Jake in the thumbnail with the fringes on, right? Trying to explain to these anti-Christians, right, up there about who Yahweh Shai is. If he even believes in Yahweh Shai, because he could be, right, one of these Israelites, but either way, right? There's division there, right? Because if there wasn't, that whole church house would be full of people in fringes, man. But you got niggas in dashikis, right? You got motherfuckers in fringes and t-shirts, right? They ain't no telling what they got going on behind the camera, right? So it's divisions going on, and like it's gonna say, or like it said, uh, they came together not for the better, but for the worse, right? Because there's no growth that's gonna come as a result of that, man.
Verse 19, for there must be also heresies among you, that they which are approved may be made manifest among you.
Right. So the point, right? Jake that's willing to do that, or that's in the mindset of, uh, going into these churches and trying to convert these Christians, or trying to co-mingle or fuse the this doctrine with Christianity, man. He's being made manifest that he's not approved of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man, right? Because he's moving on his own accord. You would never have caught Yahweh Shai in a house of Baal, right? Right, up in the groves, trying to convince these people, man. Right, the word does all the heavy lifting, and it's gonna bring the sheep to them, man. But Jake is still in that mindset of I gotta go grab right all Israel, man. And I want this to be a part of everybody's life. Uh, Let me see here. It's a lot. You got anything up?
God, I had quoted it. I'm gonna grab this. This is Ezekiel chapter 3. It's a lot. Ezekiel chapter 3, and we'll get verse 1. And it says, "Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Yasha'Allah. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness." It says, but that was pretty much the point, It said, eat the whole roll, which consists of the whole scriptures. The scriptures is likened to food, the true food and the true drink, and going back to your point, the truth speaks for itself. It doesn't cause for the gimmicks. It doesn't cause for the gimmicks or the extra stuff. It is what it is. It's the truth. I'm gonna get this real fast. This is Ayawab Job. Actually, I'm gonna get this. This is John chapter 6, and we'll get verse 5. It says, when Yahweh Shai then lifted up his eyes and saw a great company come unto him, he saith unto Philip, when shall we buy bread that these may eat? And this he said to prove him, for he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 pennyworth of bread is not sufficient for them, that every one of them may take a little. It says, one of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, saith unto him, there is a lad here which hath 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes, but what are they among so many? And it says, and Yahweh Shai said, make the men sit down. Now there was much grass in the place. So the men sat down in number about 5,000, and Yahweh Shai took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed to the disciples, and the disciples to them that were sat down, and likewise of the fishes as much as they would. So pretty much they didn't have sufficiency in that 200, but they found their sufficiency in the Lord Yahweh Shai. And I also wanted to grab this, because we found our sufficiency in the Lord. Just going back to your point. All right, this is Ayawab, Job chapter 23, and we'll get verse 12. It says, verse 11, my foot hath held his steps, his way have I kept and not declined. Neither have I gone back from the commandment of his lips. I have esteemed the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. Hey, the value of this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, it far surpasses anything that we can run into. Pretty much going back into your point. The truth can't be compared to anything. Neither does it need to be mixed with anything. Because you can't mix something that's clean, something that's pure, with something that's impure. It says it countless amounts of times in the scriptures.
That's right. Real quick, this is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 13 and verse 18. I'm starting 17, starting 16. It's lucky. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. Right. So Jake, right, it's in the mindset of mixing the doctrines together. Ultimately, they were always a part of whatever they're trying to mix this with, man. Right. It says, what fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the ungodly, or so the sinner with the godly, right? So the elect aren't going to be trying to mix, right, the message of Yahweh Shai with this Christianity, with the Nation of Islam, right, with black culture, right? The elect are going to be separating themselves from all these things, man, right? And like it says, right, let the filthy be filthy still, right? But it also says, let the holy be holy still, meaning it's separate, man. So the filthy are going to stay over there, right? And the holy, the elect, Lord willing, will be of that number, are going to be over here, man, right? Now it says, what agreement is there between the hyena and a dog? And what peace between the rich and the poor, right? So all these things, right, that separation is always going to be there, right? Because it's going to be a bumping of heads when things like that start happening. So ultimately, if you really believe, you're gonna move contrary to the way, right, that they carry themselves, man. You're not gonna be in the mindset of trying to mix these things together, of trying to fuse, right, going back to that definition for syncretism, right, trying to fuse doctrines and belief systems together, man, right? Like it says to fuse differing systems of belief or philosophies or religion, right? So that's what the mindset Jake is in, because they can't stand to separate themselves from the things that they've known their whole lives, man.
I got another one. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 15. It says, and what concord hath Hamashayach with Balaam, or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? And what agreement hath the temple of the Most High with idols? For ye are the temple of the living power, as the power hath said. I will dwell in them and walk in them, and will be with the and will be their power, and they shall be my people. Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. So pretty much going into laying back on your point, because you got those that are in that particular type of spirit, different groups that are communing and essentially, doing different events. What if they have someone amongst uh, uh, um, uh, that particular group, and they see those types of things and they fall for those specific type of ideologies.
Exactly.
That, but then also they shouldn't even be involved in that in the first place.
God. Well said. Well said. But that's pretty much it, man. The point I think has been made, right? Just laying back and off the Elder not the Zakba, right? These things have always been a part, right? A problem for Jake, rather, right? Of them, being in this syncretism mindset of trying to intermingle the ways of the heathen from the garden till now, right? The sons of God married those women, right, and accumulated those customs of the heathen, and then we see that work its way through the Book of Judges, through Egypt, through the Book of Judges, through up Babylon, Assyria, Greece, Rome, and up till now, man. Right? Jake has always been in the mindset of, well, I know where my belief is, but let me sprinkle this other doctrine into it, man. Right? Which is extremely off. But if you didn't have anything else, we can go and close out.
Can't lie. I have none.
Gone. And so we pray our lesson was edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. We want to close by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. And Kwame Asharala and the Bible Ball, man. Shalom.
Okay, shalom.